My name's Anita, and my brother is Michael Austin Davis. He turned 27 just a few months ago, but he's been missing here from the Jacksonville area since June 26th of 2007. The circumstances around it are a lot like other stories. We didn't realize anything was wrong at first, thought it's just a normal day. He lived with me at the time, and being an adult and working, and myself and my husband working as well, we didn't always see him every day, and so a whole day actually went by before we realized that something was truly wrong. And that happened on my way home from work, and one of his coworkers called me and said, "Anita, I'm really concerned Austin didn't show up for work today. He's never done that before. It's not like him. He hasn't called us. He hasn't answered his phone. And I'm really worried. I think you need to call the police." And I thought to myself, no, this can't be. I'm sure everything's fine. Something has just happened. I'm not sure what it is, but surely this isn't something real that's happening to us. Surely I don't need to go home and actually call the police. And all along I was thinking in my head, he's going to walk through the door any minute. He's going to say, "What are you doing? Why in the world did you call the police? It's been, a day or a few hours and you just didn't know," or something like that. I just kept thinking, this is going to end. The next day I was actually in his room looking through some things and thought, he's going to walk in the door and be mad at me. Depression probably had played a part in his disappearance. That maybe, things had become too big for him to deal with, he felt like. He had also just been arrested, the first time he was ever arrested in his life, and it was a misdemeanor arrest. He spent less than a night in jail and was out, but that was another thing that had weighed on him. He was disappointed in himself. He was upset over what had happened, and I think it just was one more thing that went into his depression. So we spent the next 2 months still thinking, we're going to find him. We're going to walk by one day, a road, a store, a something, and he's going to be there. So every person that we saw on the street, we would take 1, 2, maybe 5 looks at, just wondering, could that be him? But there's a perception that when someone's reported missing, everything just springs into action. That the police come and there's crime scene units and there's television coverage and you're bombarded with media requests and you're bombarded with offers of help. And the reality for most families is a lot different than that. We learned some news that was truly devastating. Jacksonville Sheriff's Office called and said that they had some information to share with us. And the information that they shared was that what he had been doing, the last person that had seen him was the owner of a pawn shop located near the corner of Blanding Boulevard and 103rd Street on the west side of Jacksonville, and that he had purchased a shotgun. That, combined with the knowledge of the depression he had been facing, of course led us down a little bit different path. The thoughts were still there of, if he's taken his own life, why haven't we been able to find him? There's now, a very strong possibility that what we're looking for are his remains. It's not something that's easy to deal with. It's not something that's easy to say, but it is what is a very good possibility. And what my mom has said all along, and what I believe and our family does, is that no matter what the answer is, we need the answer. So we continue to search, and we continue to follow leads that might lead us to him alive, but we also, at this point, continue to do searches in the areas surrounding the pawn shop and other areas that might have been a possibility of where he might have gone. And so that's what we've been doing a lot of groundwork, a lot of foot searches, a lot of just going out into the community, hanging flyers, passing out postcards, doing whatever we could to try to get his face out there. And we do believe that someone saw him. And at this point, anybody even being able to tell us what direction. If someone saw him and said, I do remember that, he was headed east on Blanding, or he was headed this direction, that really would help us so much, because that alone would give us some areas to search, at least give us some direction. Because right now, it's just a wide open field of where could he be. We have one starting point, but just a little bit more information would be so helpful.